Welcome to the Stronger Together podcast, brought to you by Sandpoint Strength and Conditioning. I'm your coach, Kenny Marquardt. Today, I'm joined by Tammy Lancaster. She is just friggin' awesome. And you're going to love these stories, especially if you know Tammy. She is, I make this reference during the podcast, but she's like got this Batman dual personality thing going on that I just am freaking in love with. And again, I'm going to leave some more of that to the podcast, but you're going to dig it. So enjoy. But first, don't forget, we are brought to you by Momentous Supplements. Remember, you can get 15% off of your order at livemomentous.com by using the code name or code word Sandpoint Strength, all one word. All right, enjoy. Hello, Tammy. Nice to see you. Nice to have you. This is actually the time I'm used to seeing you. It's 4:30 in the afternoon, and I'm used to seeing your beautiful face stride into the gym right now. So this is kind of normal.
A little bit different apparel.
A little different apparel, a little different setting, but yeah. It's normal for me to see you at 4:30, so this is a good continuation of that flow. Let's jump right in. I distinctly remember, I think, just seeing you in the gym for the first time. Tell me about that. Let's let the listeners and audience tell me about your first day at the gym.
My first day at the gym, I was invited to Liam, and I showed up. I didn't know anyone but Maeve, and I just figured that I would figure it out and jump in with what little past history I had of CrossFit. And that was kind of my no sweat intro, if you will, or
a little sweat intro.
Try it before you buy it experience.
Yeah, I think there was some sweat in that intro for sure.
Yeah, yes, that's true.
How long had you been out of the CrossFit environment before that workout?
It had been a few months, and then prior to that, I had only done CrossFit for about 6 months.
Okay. And then I wish I knew this, so hopefully you do. Do you remember what the Liam workout is?
No, no, I don't.
In any case, it's not easy.
Rope climbing, which I did not do.
Yep. It includes, I know for a fact it includes a couple. I think it starts and finishes with an 800-meter run with a weight, like with a plate.
Yes.
There's rope climbs. I want to say there's power cleans, and I want to say there's toes to bar.
Yes.
But in any case, that's not a gentle re-entry back into this type of fitness.
Yes, and it was heavily modified for me. I definitely was, that was my first introduction into the level method and how useful and powerful that tool is.
Yeah. Yeah. You've been a big, proponent of that. I think you and I connected. So you did that workout. You and I connected after we did, I think, our normal route of 5 foundation sessions after that, just as a baseline for you getting started with us. And I think that's when we bonded a bit over metrics and numbers and tracking of spreadsheets and all that stuff.
I am extremely analytical for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Bring me all the numbers. I make a spreadsheet out of anything. Somebody asks me a question, I'm going to make you a spreadsheet. I've got recipes on spreadsheets.
I think that Google Sheets I'm not sure that how much it costs to have a sheet, but I'm sure they're losing money on me at some point. I must have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. As soon as I have an idea or something I need to work through, or just need a calculator, I often just open up Sheets and start to plug away in there. So yeah, you and I bonded a bit over that, and I remember your love for the level method and the data that it would provide you over time pretty early on.
Well, and it was pretty cool. The other connection was that you are Two Brain Business representative involved in that, and the gym that I came from was a client of, or is a client of Two Brain Business, and since then now you have kind of mentored them as well.
That's true.
It was interesting that you, as the gym owner where I am now, met basically the gym owner where I was.
I know. In fact, I think, so yeah, I met Corey right before, it was a couple of months, I think, before I started working with her individually. But yeah, we met in Chicago at one of our big meetups, and we immediately we were sharing, I think she was actually kind of upset with me because I had possession of you. For lack of a better word, but I was graced with your presence in my gym, and she was so disappointed and sad that you had left her gym. So yeah, that's a good compliment. That's not everybody where gym owners are fighting for the, I don't know, blessing of having somebody in their gym, and you're that person for us. So that's cool.
Well, and it was so funny because the gyms couldn't be more diverse and 1,000 miles apart.
Yeah, right. So tell me about that. Tell me about starting with Corey at CrossFit Resurrection, right? Yeah. I should
Well,
know
the
that.
biggest thing for me was I had a tendency to overwork myself. I did that my entire career. And so I was originally looking for personal training, which I had done before because I knew I needed to do something. And also, I wanted a reason to have to cut off my work day. So I had heard about CrossFit and was interested in working out, but really didn't have any consistent experience other than a year or so of personal training quite some time ago. And so I just went in for a no sweat intro. It was only 15 minutes from my house. And I literally had to leave my office on time if I was going to make the 4:30 class, because that was the class I did there also.
Yeah.
So I forced myself. In fact, I had to start getting ready 5 or 10 minutes before I was supposed to leave the office if I was going to make the class on time. So it forced me to stop working to a degree. I mean, sometimes I would keep working when I got home,
Mm.
but for the most part, it cut my day down, which is something that I really needed to do.
How was that challenging for you to? I mean, it sounds like it was a challenge that you were trying to alleviate with this other solution, but was that because I think it's easy to work through that stuff. I think people oftentimes will put work first and they will put the excuse out there that they got to work, and so they have to miss their workouts. So was that a challenge for you?
No, I was the opposite. I really needed a reason to put me first. I hadn't done it. I have family members that are my poster children, if you will, of what happens when you don't do that. My father had a nervous breakdown when he was about 50 from working too much and not taking the time and reinvesting in himself. And so I just swore I was not going to do that, although I did for almost 30 years. This was an opportunity to back off from that. And my work actually supported me where I hadn't had that in the past. So, no, I was excited to go to the gym. I love a challenge. I knew it was going to be something new. I had no idea what I was going to be doing. The last time I lifted weights was when I was a competitive swimmer in high school. So, and even then I was like, I can't even remember what weights we lifted. So yeah, it was quite interesting. The structure of it really appealed to me, and the coach to class size was great too, because you just felt like it's almost like personal training in a group setting.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. That's what I try and say. So good. I'm glad I fed you that line. I paid you to say that, right?
No.
Yeah, that's cool. So did you enjoy the CrossFit experience right out of the gate, or was it? How did that integration go for you?
Oh, I had some excuses. One was being, my horse injury when I was a kid that left my knee in a bad place. So I had my knees replaced in 2020, but I had gone, many years without doing any high impact exercise, using braces all the time and stuff. So those were, it was an excuse for me. I kind of walked in the door with the attitude of, be nice to me. I had both of my knees replaced and I haven't done high impact exercise. So, be lenient. And they were like, huh. And I said, okay, that is not going to work. So I bit the bullet, and, the first time I had to run, I think it was, I don't know if it was, I think it was an 800 meter that I was supposed to do. And I had not run in many, many years. My knee would swell up just at the
Yeah.
drop of a hat. I pushed. I had no concept of pacing and really just doing what you're able to do, because I would drive myself to just push too
Yeah.
hard. So I came back and I threw up. And that's when I learned about lactic acid impact and intolerance. And they were like, oh, yeah, just do it outside. You'll get over it. And it's like, okay,
You
cool.
kept coming back. Good for you.
And I did. I came back, and yeah, that was interesting. And my ability to do high impact exercise has increased greatly from that day. I haven't not had that experience since then.
That's good. Yeah, that would be a hard thing to keep coming back to if you have that reaction all the time. Could you? I want to rewind. You described it as a horse injury. Could you be more? Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
So I grew up with horses. I started when I was about 9 years old, and I had one horse. Then I ended up with two because I'm a fraternal twin, and if I got something, then my sister got something, we were all the same. So when I got a horse, she got a horse. She was not a horse person. She was very into arts and music and stuff like that. So I ended up with her horse. So I had two, and I rode from sunup to sundown. If I was out on my horse, I would go up to people's houses who had horses in their yard and say, "Can I ride your horse?" I would get notes from my mom. So as a result, I rode a lot of different horses with different behaviors. I found it a challenge. Give me anything. I don't care if it was broke. I don't care if it was green broke. I don't care what it was. I wanted to ride it. I wanted to train it. And that got me into trouble sometimes.
I can imagine that. Yeah.
Yeah. So my horse injury, I had a horse that tended to take advantage when you relaxed on him. And he had a saddle on and made a sudden turn, slipped and fell on some freshly cured concrete with new shoes and fell on his side. So I ended up with kind of a hole in my knee. I lived with my grandparents and they didn't know what to do about it. They put a Band-Aid on it. My mom was a registered nurse and came to pick me up that, like, I don't know, a week later and said, we're going to the emergency room because your knee is this big.
Yeah.
Which they had to drain it. And then I would be prone to water on the knee every single time I hit it at all. So that's kind of what started that whole battle. I have barbed wire scars. I have a scar on my head from a horse dragging me down the street because I refused to let go. So yeah, I would ride any horse.
That's, you're not still active on horses though, are you?
No, I don't have horses. Now I have horsepower.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that. I was pretty sure you exercise that in a different way, a similar but different way now.
An iron horse.
Yeah. What do you ride?
I ride a Yamaha FZ1.
Oh, what is that? What kind of bike is that?
It's not quite a sport bike, but on the sport side. I'm not a Harley person or a cruiser person. I tried that once. I'm too much of an adrenaline junkie to go slow. When I first started riding motorcycles, I got my first bike in 1986 or 88, something like that. It was black, pink, and turquoise.
Nice.
I rode with 2 to 3 inch pumps, no helmet, and this was all around, like Southern California freeways.
Yeah, some of the most dangerous in the nation, if not the world.
Yeah, I would never do that now. Today, I'm all the gear all the time. So yeah, I like to go fast on motorcycles and in cars, and yeah, it's challenging.
Yeah,
I actually do track days.
that's so awesome. What did you say, FZ1?
FZ1. It's a Yamaha. They don't make it anymore.
But that's a 1,000cc bike, right? Like that's a big bike.
It's a 1,000cc bike, yeah.
Yeah, that's not a screwing around. I mean, none of them are. I haven't ridden much. I've ridden
It's
a 600
an older
sport bike.
R1 motor. They based it on the old racing R1 motor.
So that thing moves. Like that's not.
Yeah, I've gotten up there quite a few times. Somebody asked me my top speed just the other day. It's something like 155.
Oh my God, that's on a track.
The
statute of limitations is probably up, right?
Yeah. On and off the track.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was. It's an adrenaline rush. It is a blast hitting corners on the track. When I first started passing people on the track, that was pretty incredible. I never got to a kind of a racer level. Those people are absolutely crazy.
Wait a minute. Didn't you say you've been upwards of 150 miles an hour multiple times, and you're describing other people's crazy?
Yeah, but
where's the line?
They're even faster than that.
Oh, I'm sure, but still, I'm not sure where you fall on the crazy spectrum in terms of that.
Well, yeah, that might be true. Also, for a while I couldn't ride because when I had my daughter in the early 90s, my dad approached me and said, you're a mom now, and you probably shouldn't be riding a motorcycle. And I was like, what? I flat out told him, you would not say that to me if I was your son.
What did he say to that?
I guess I would. No, I don't think so. And that was another thing that would always drive me is if somebody said that a guy could do it and a woman couldn't, then I was going to try to figure out how to do it.
Hopping on. Love it. That's an interesting dichotomy. We started with your passion for numbers and spreadsheets, and that would be probably typically, I don't know, not an adrenaline junkie kind of a passion. Like, how do you juxtapose those things? Like, is that
It's funny, I worked for a company where the president of the company, he would walk up to me and say, I am so confused by you. You are my corporate controller who bakes cakes
Yeah.
and rides motorcycles. And yeah, he said, you confuse me.
Yeah. I can see that. I'm not, I don't disagree with him. I can get it. Again, I share the same passion. I have my own adrenaline type things. But yeah, somebody
Sure.
who's managing budgets and who's probably, I would assume you have to be pretty conservative in a financial sense and a numbers sense with the roles that you play at work. You got to look out and make sure, people won't run out of money for it in a basic sense. But then on the other, you got like kind of a Batman, Bruce Wayne kind of thing going on here.
I guess. And then Susie Homebaker on top of that.
Yeah, sure, right. Which is baking is measuring, right? Like that's not. Jen is a self-admitted not a very good baker because she doesn't like to measure. She just kind of tosses things in, and when you do that, it doesn't always end up well in a baking sense. So yeah, you're calm and calculating. Yeah.
You give me a recipe or a how-to book on anything, and I will get it done.
It's awesome. But then you exercise your need for speed. What else? What other like adrenaline sports or what other? Well, do you nurse that, or is it just on motorcycles?
Well, I used to get in quite a lot of trouble in cars. Yeah,
Okay, tell me. You can't more.
Yeah, in fact there was one time. Yeah, I used to get a ticket. Well, I don't know if this. So I used to get a ticket.
I can edit any of this out if you admit to any crimes that we can. If
I used to get a ticket like every 6 months, but I learned that back in the day, the counties didn't talk to each other. So if you got a ticket in a different county, you could go take traffic school in that county, and they wouldn't know that you already took traffic school 6 months previous in another county.
So were you strategic in your speeding? Were you just go to different counties to exercise?
I just got lucky, I think.
Oh, okay, you're taking different routes to work, and so you can cross lines.
I just got really, really lucky on cars and motorcycles. I actually got an opportunity to take a car, Mazda Miata, out on the track at Laguna Seca once.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I got to ride Laguna Seca. Back in 2016, I won a contest with a track day organization where they provided me a Yamaha R3 for the season, and I got to do all the track days that year for free.
What?
So I did, man, I must have done like 16 or 18 track days in 8 months.
Whoa, that's awesome.
And yeah, so I went, so one of them was Laguna Seca, where they were also sharing it with a car group. And one of the guys I had happened to run into before, and he offered to let me, I got to take my car out on the track. I had a Hyundai Veloster. I don't know if you've ever seen those little 3-door cars, kind of a sporty CRX type looking car.
Yeah. Yep.
And so I got to take my car out on the track, and then I got to go out in his Miata. So yeah, that was the only thing that keeps me from doing more of those things is it's expensive.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. I played enough Gran Turismo to think that I can say Laguna Seca is a road course, correct? Not a circle track.
Yes.
Yeah.
They used to hold MotoGP racing. I don't know if you're familiar with MotoGP, but that's international sport bike racing.
Yeah.
Which I watch all the races all the time with my husband. He's kind of like me.
Oh gosh. All right. Just do you guys push each other, like not push each other, but you know what I mean? Like kind of nudge each other into the more adventure. Cool.
So that can be bad.
Oh yeah. I was going to say that's usually better when there's one person, there's kind of the coexistence of opposing personalities in that way.
No, because there are times like we went in our truck up Lamoille Canyon, which is in the Ruby Mountains near Elko, and it was all snow and they don't plow the road, and we took off and just wanted to see how far can we get, and it was always let's see how far we can get. And yeah, our truck ended up stuck up there for about 3 days before we could get it out. And it was all because, I don't know, do you think we should stop now? I think we could go a little bit further. What about you? I think we can go a little bit further. We have done that in the truck. We have done that on motorcycles up here. We did some single track dirt biking near Gold Creek off of Bunko. The road that goes. Have you ever heard of Gold Creek Lodge?
Uh huh. Yep.
So we used to go out there and ride. Well, we went out there one time and just the weekend before I was getting my first knee replacement, I'm out there on a dirt bike, pushing the envelope on single track that I've never really ridden before. And we pushed each other and ended up walking out. So yeah, so those are the kinds of challenges and that we get into, and afterwards we'll say, we really shouldn't do that anymore.
How long does that last?
Well, let's see. I can't think of the last time. I think we've been in pretty good shape in the last 2 years since being in Sandpoint. So
All right.
probably for the most part due to lack of opportunity.
I hope you donate to search and rescue, and keep those people on your good side.
Oh yeah, search and rescue was involved that weekend for sure.
In Elko
Unfortunately,
or in up here in Coeur d'Alene?
up here.
Got it. Nice. The Coeur d'Alene search and rescue or the pre.
Actually, well, what it ended it was since it was Kootenai County or Bonner County,
Okay.
and at the time they couldn't figure out which county to send out. It was a huge story. I mean, we had gone out with my husband's cousins and been riding all day, and we wanted to show them a single track route that we had found on a map. We had not ridden it yet, and so we get there and it's all good. It's probably 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it is only supposed to be 6 or 7 miles long. Not a big deal. And so we get going. My knee's bothering me. So we get about a mile and a half in, and I'm like, I need to walk my bike. And so my husband says, cousins, you go ahead of us, and I'll hang back with Tammy and help her get through the rest of it. I mean, let's face it, we only have like maybe 5 miles left, and it had been raining. And so he got to the point where he would ride his bike a certain distance, and then he would have to walk back and ride mine over that same distance. Well, then at one point he pulled his groin, and then so now he's trying to do that. Then we got to this one spot, and I'll have to show you the video sometime because this mud, you cannot describe this mud. It's the kind of thing where you put your foot down and it just sucks it in.
Yeah.
So we're trying to ride motorcycles through that.
Fun.
We should have turned around.
Yeah. Should have is not.
Even,
yeah. I don't feel like should have is a great direction for you. I don't feel like that's a good, something you take super seriously.
There were 2 people that passed us who had passed us going the same direction as us and turned around.
Oh.
We still did not turn around because in our mind, our cousins were up ahead of us. They made it, no big deal. By about 9:30, and granted, we had started at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So by about 9:30, we're like, I don't know how much more we can do. My husband can hardly walk or ride. So 9:30, 10 o'clock, we decide to abandon the bikes and walk out because somebody's going to be looking for us. It's pitch dark now. So we end up walking out of the trail, hit a road, and now we're going to try to find somebody. We know that we're 26 miles from our parked truck. So how are we going to find somebody? We have no cell service. Well, it just so happened that we had the cousin's phone because he didn't have a place to put it. So we had the cousin's phone, and it beeped when we got cell service because our phones were just about dead because we were using them as flashlights trying to get up this trail. So finally, it's like 11:30 now. My husband has this phone and he calls it and they answer, "Oh my gosh, where are you guys? We thought you turned around. We're at Taco Bell or whatever at 11 o'clock at night." He was fit to be tied. And then when the cousin had called his wife at home, she called search and rescue.
Yeah.
Because now she was worried. Well, they weren't sure where we are, so they didn't know which search and rescue to send. We had to call 911 every 30 minutes and let them know where we were. They told us to stay put, and we were like, no, we're not staying put. We know we're not far from an intersection that we're familiar with, and we had just passed fresh bear scat. And it was like, yeah, no, we're not going to stay right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we got to a point where my husband is a Boy Scout. He brought everything to light a fire, and he
Just not
had
a
a
flashlight.
fire. Yeah, just
Just
no.
no flashlights.
Well, yeah, we started at 3 o'clock in
Right,
the
right, right, right.
afternoon. It doesn't get dark until 9. And so literally we never saw search and rescue until we were on our way out. Our cousins came to get us. They picked us up at 3 a.m. Yep. And it was 5 a.m. when we finally saw search and rescue go in the opposite direction to come and get us because they had sent out the wrong county. They turned around when they realized they were the wrong county. So then the other county had to get together to send somebody out. And by that time, it's like, oh, are you guys the people we were looking for? Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So the funniest thing is that we get back to our house, we sleep a little bit, then our cousins had some friends, they're 20 somethings. So they take the rough and tumble guys, decide to go back and get our bikes because we have no idea
Yeah.
what's going to happen to them out there. We're not familiar with that area.
Yeah.
And so my husband takes his truck and his cousin and these kids. They go up to the area. Right there, there's a sign that says be careful, we're trapping wolves. And my husband was like, oh, it's a good thing Tammy didn't see that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they get to the spot where the trailhead is, and these kids are going to go down and get our bikes and ride them back up. So my husband figures that he's got at least an hour. We're going to do some target shooting, whatever. I stayed home, but they were going to. Literally, these kids go down the trail, get the bikes, and they're back in less than 15 minutes.
Wow.
It took us like 3+ hours
Yeah.
to walk out of there, and they were down there and back in 15 minutes.
Oh my gosh. That's probably not a good feeling. I mean, just like, what the heck? Like, I wish it would have taken you just a little, like, could you just pretended like it took you longer?
That's right. Could you just guys hang out and have lunch at the bikes or something?
Yeah. Take a nap. Just make us feel a little better.
Well, yeah, we just, we're older and my husband was injured. So yeah, we can't, there was all the reasons why. But yeah, that was the last really notable adventure that, yeah, we should have turned around. Just like getting the truck stuck, we should have turned around. We ended up walking 3 miles in the snow when we got the truck stuck and found some other people that got stuck, and we all did a bonfire in the middle of the road.
That's so great. I love this. This is fantastic. You should carry an air tag with you, just, so we can know where you are. If you don't turn up,
Well,
we'll just come find you.
I hiked Mount Whitney once, so I bought a spot for that. But even then, my dad had my husband on the phone. I don't know, after I'd been gone for 12 hours, like, is she okay? Is she coming back? I'm following the spot and it's not moving and this and that. And, my dad almost created an issue because he wanted my husband to call the sheriff's department and go on rescue. Well, it's Mount Whitney. They don't do that.
No, right.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a big deal when you get out there. So, but there's just been a few times that I could have made a better decision.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, there is a lot of validity and importance to those kinds of things, recognizing like you'll figure it out. I think that breeds some confidence in other situations that I think a lot of people are just too scared to try because they don't know. They don't want to go anywhere because they think they're just not sure what's going to happen. But I'd love your sense of adventure to just go, all right, well, whatever. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, good and bad as I aged. I mean, I've gotten a little less reckless than I used to be. I would be a little more careful approaching a horse or something like that. But when I was younger, I didn't have any fear, none whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah. Pros and cons, I think, to that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to chat. I want to switch a little. This is an aggressive topic change, but because of your last, what do we figure out? 18 months or so? It's been a little bit of you've had some injuries to deal with. You've had some life stuff. Talk about which ones you want to, which ones you don't. But I've really admired your perseverance. Maybe it's related to some of your adventurous nature and what you're willing to kind of endure to get to where you want to go. But I've really admired that. And it's honestly not all that common for people to be able to push through and trust and, keep coming to the gym, even if it looks different. So talk about that in whatever way you want. If you want to kind of start where you, I'll start where you want to start, but just I'd love to hear the conclusion of that, be some advice and how you've been able to push through the situations.
Well, so I'm pretty competitive and competitive against myself. I mean, even on the track, it was not racing against others, but racing against your own improvement. And CrossFit is another avenue for that. And so when I wanted more levels and lifting more weight and just keep growing and getting faster and accomplishing the goals and getting better and better and better. Well, I didn't do a good job at taking into consideration the fact that I had not done these things in 30 years or whatever. And so sometimes I pushed myself too far. And so the first thing that I did that I recognized caused me a problem was last year was my right shoulder. So I had really never done any sort of gymnastics movements ever. And so trying to do pull-ups and things like that and the exercises related to getting there, I pushed a little bit too hard. And so I caused problems right here. And that was the first injury that I had where I really needed to back off. And you helped me a lot with that. And that I had to come to terms with it's okay to back off. And it's okay to not be performing at your best and accepting your workout. You're there, and everybody tells me that all the time when I go to the gym. You're here, and that is the biggest battle.
Yeah.
I laugh because I work a 20-second walk from the front door of the gym. I really have to look at the gym to go to my car. So I don't have, it's ingrained in me, but I had to back off because of my shoulder, which was about 15 months ago, I think. And then I worked on the cross symmetry exercises, which were a huge, huge help, which I should be getting back into doing, but I haven't for a long time. And then I had my wrist. I was trying to do a front squat really heavy. Well, heavy for me, it was 130 pounds, 3 reps. And
Yeah.
then after I knew that I had hurt my wrist, I followed that up with a 145-pound 1 rep max because I just don't know
Want to
when
turn
to
around?
stop, when to turn around. Bingo. And so I knew I had done something to my wrist. It was not good at all. So I ended up in physical therapy over all of last winter, probably from about October, November to January. And once again, had to become comfortable because now I could not do bodybuilders or burpees or anything that would put weight on my wrist. So I had to recover all of that. And once again, I had to become comfortable with not I was doing my best for where I was right then, but I wasn't going to gain levels and I wasn't going to do all the PRs and stuff like that I wanted to do. I just had to take it easy and allow myself to heal and grow through that injury. And then it just seemed right after that, I had my ankle. So I had rolled my ankle, which usually would not be a big deal. And I didn't think it was like December, January, and then just kept walking. Well, my ankle just kept hurting and wasn't improving. And then I went through, my sister got really sick. And so I kind of put my ankle aside and was dealing with that. And then she passed a month later. And so it was just a whirlwind of things that happened so fast. And then finally in March, I was able to revisit my ankle and ended up having surgery in May. And I was so funny because I told you before the surgery, it was like the Thursday before my surgery on Tuesday, I'll be in here on Wednesday. I think I was going to give myself like that week off. And then the following Monday, I said, I'll be in here every day with my boot on. That was a little optimistic.
I wasn't going to tell you no.
But I did. So I gave myself a few weeks off and it was a little bit of a convincing to tell myself that that was okay, that it was okay not to go to the gym and deal with the things that I had to deal with, and not to work out every day. And if I, didn't get some sort of exercise in, well, it just wasn't going to happen. And
Yeah.
that's okay. And it had to be okay. I just wasn't going to tear myself up over it. It was hard enough already. So I gave myself I think I gave myself like 3 weeks of not going to the gym before I came back and said, I need to do something. I don't know what it looks like, but I know you guys can help me out. So you did. Everybody was great. I mean, I know I've heard you before, because I'm one of those people that always felt like the coaches modifying for me was putting them out, but it doesn't. And it took a lot for me to realize and own and absorb, no, Tammy, they want to do this for you. They're so happy that you are here, regardless of what you can do. They will figure out something else that you can do. And I remember when I first came in with my boot, I was doing things that I thought were the right things to do. Like, let's try using the assault bike with just the arms and that sort of thing. So I had done that a couple of times in the week, and I'd come in on a Monday the following week and was ready to just do my little laid back push at exercising. And there you were, like, I think we can do a workout with you. Yeah, we'll figure this out. And I'm like, well, shoot, there went my easy. I'm not getting through. I'm not getting past this. And sure enough, it was like, all right, you just kind of pushed me over that ledge, and in a good way,
Yeah.
because it made me realize that, oh, okay, I can do something in a boot, and there are modifications that I can do. And now I'm in a little brace, and there are modifications that I can do in that also. And so that'll be over on the 28th.
Heck yeah.
But I'm learning, to add things back slowly over time,
Yeah.
and not try to accomplish the world all at once.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I mean, again, I'm not trying to say that you're have had a ton of fun necessarily. Like, I know this has been frustrating because we've talked a lot about it, but the perseverance through it is really, really admirable, for whatever that's worth. Because it's so, it's very common for someone to just life, right? Like, if you do things like ride motorcycles or ski or ride horse, whatever it is, like, you're probably going to have something that's going to get in the way of your optimal training, like the ability to do everything you want to in the way that you're going to want to. And so I think people are so quick to pull back from the gym because they think they need to rest and recover or do whatever and get back to 100%. But I don't know how often anybody's ever at 100%, just because of the lifestyles that we choose. And I think that's like your mindset. I think it would be great if we had a 16th level of perseverance through the seasons of life. And I think you'd be like, whatever the high, red 4 on that, because you've done a great job of it, and it's been really, fun to work with you on some of that stuff and get creative and figure out, okay, well, you can't load your wrist, or you can't you shouldn't be doing these things. Like, well, okay, let's figure out what else we can do. Let me play for a minute. Let me figure out let's see what we can get, what kind of wacky stuff Tammy can do today. So.
No, I actually have a picture of the list on my phone I don't even remember which injury it was that you made the list for, but I know. And I know what I was doing. I was doing the December 3rd workout.
Oh. What was that?
That
it wasn't the Christmas one.
Oh, no, it was a Christmas one.
Yeah, okay.
So,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. Yeah, 12 movements. And that was the point where it was pretty limited. So
yeah, and it was so funny because, okay, here's the workout. Cross out that. I mean, we crossed out like 10 of them, and you put things in their places. And I was like, all right, there's my workout. And Lisa's done the same thing for me at times. It's like, okay, here, in this new phase of your recovery, here are the things that came to my head that you can do. So use this list whenever you go from class to class, coach to coach. And it worked out really, really nicely. But yeah, it's been quite the modification dilemma for me, because I always want to be right there with everybody else and push myself. And I feel like I'm failing to a degree if I'm not pushing myself as hard as I possibly can. So that was kind of a mindset change for sure over the last 15.
Yeah. Well, it keeps you out of more trouble.
There is that.
Yeah, read the signs and maybe, turn back when it makes sense.
You're right. Well, I've decided that I really don't like injuries.
Yeah.
And so I am going to do whatever it takes to prevent them. That is more important than getting higher, faster, better, quicker, all the things.
Yeah. I often liken it to there's a book called the 20-mile march, or maybe it's just a reference in a book about like the 20-mile march where it's just like, okay, we'll get up and do the march rather than like sprint one day as far as you possibly can and then have to take many, many days off because you're so exhausted. It's just a, like much longer term pacing perspective to figure out, okay, well, how can I most optimally just get up every day and do the thing? And I think it's hard to do. Like I think it's often easier to just push harder thinking you're going to be able to do that every day, but most often that's not the case. So figuring out that pacing perspective and knowing that that's actually the optimal way to go about it, which is I think what most people, myself included, a lot of the time is have to convince yourself that that's the right way to do it. So
Yeah, pacing for me was an entirely new concept.
in both in the acute sense and the long-term sense. Yeah. Yeah. Well, man, you are just a joy to have in the gym. And I just love hearing these stories from you. I want to do this again because I'm sure there are more. And I want to talk about the other side of this, string of injuries and stuff that you've had when you get past it. And I know you're just about there. So that's awesome.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for doing this. Yeah. Again, I'm not sure how else to say it, but you're just awesome. So thanks for sharing all this stuff with the world, our 100 or so listeners. And, yeah, all the people who are
I'm
get the joy of being
one.
in class with you. Yeah, good. Okay, awesome. All right, Tammy. Well, will I see you tomorrow?
Yes.
All
Yes,
right, I'll
right
see
now
you
I'm
tomorrow.
doing a Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Nice. Good. All right. Well, I'll leave you to the rest of your evening. And thanks again for doing this. And I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for listening. I know you enjoy that. And if you want to be more like Tammy, which I think all of us probably do, want to have some more of that adventurous spirit and willingness to kind of test your boundaries a bit, and a great place to do that is within the community at Sandpoint Strength and Conditioning, where if you are not a current or active member, reach out to me, Kenny at sandpointstrength.com, and I can help get you squared away. All right. Thanks for listening. Till next time.